My daughter said I would get nothing from my late wife's $10 million bequest, but in court. The moment my daughter told me I was cut out of my own wife's will, something inside me shattered and then hardened. Not because of the $10 million she claimed I wasn't getting, but because in her eyes, I suddenly wasn't a husband who lost his partner of 35 years. I was just an obstacle standing between her and a fortune. And that was the moment I knew. If I didn't fight back, I would lose not just my dignity, but the last piece of the woman I loved. The story begins. My wife, Alina, was the kind of woman who walked into a room and softened the air around her. She wasn't flashy or loud, she was calm, warm, and deeply intelligent. We were married for 35 years, raised one daughter, Amelia, and built everything from scratch. When Alina passed away unexpectedly after a short illness, I felt the ground fall from under me. Losing her felt like losing the foundation of my entire life. For weeks after the funeral, I slept on her side of the bed just to feel closer to her. Amelia, however, didn't show that same grief. She cried at the funeral, yes, but the days after, she was cold, busy, strange. I assumed everyone grieved differently. But then came the day everything changed. Dad, you're not getting anything. 2 weeks after Alina's passing, Amelia called me to her house. I arrived thinking she needed support. Maybe she wanted to reminisce, to share old memories. Instead, she sat across from me at her marble dining table, a stack of papers in front of her. Dad, she said, clearing her throat, we need to talk about Mom's estate. I nodded, of course. She slid the papers toward me. I scanned the top sheet. My hands froze. It was my wife's will, updated supposedly only a year before her death. And according to the document, everything was left to Amelia. Her business, her rental properties, her jewelry, her art collection, her stocks, her savings, all $10 million of it. I swallowed hard. This must be a mistake. It's not, she said coldly. Mom left everything to me, you get nothing. I looked up, stunned. Amelia, your mother would never do this. She loved you, yes, but she would never leave me with nothing. She smirked. Well, maybe she changed her mind. Her tone cut deeper than any of the words. That's when I noticed her nails, new, expensive looking, the designer bag, the flashy watch. Something wasn't right. Where did you get the original of this? I asked quietly. From Mom's lawyer. No, I said slowly. Alina's lawyer was Thompson and Bell. These documents say they were filed by a different firm. She froze for half a second. Then she stood up. I don't have to explain anything to you. Mom made her choice. If you try to contest it, you'll only embarrass yourself. Then with a shrug. Just accept it, you're old, Dad, you don't need $10 million. I felt my heart splinter. Not because of the money, but because my daughter, my only child, could speak to me like that. The seed of suspicion. I left her house numb. But the moment I walked into my home, the home Alina and I built together, something inside me shifted. My wife had been meticulous, she documented everything, she was fair, she was honest. There was no universe in which she would leave me with nothing. And even if she had changed her will, which was possible, she would have told me. But she hadn't. Then I remembered something. 3 months before her death, Alina had told me she added me as co-owner of all her major assets just to make things easy. If what Amelia showed me was true, those documents should have been updated. But they were. Because they didn't exist. And that's when I knew. The will was fake. Meeting the real lawyer. The next morning, I drove to Thompson and Bell, the firm my wife had trusted for years. I spoke with Mr. Bell himself. When I told him what Amelia claimed, he nearly dropped his pen. Mr. Davis, he said, adjusting his glasses, your wife never changed her will. In fact, she updated it only 5 years ago and the primary beneficiary was you. My heart pounded. Can I see the original? He nodded and retrieved a file. There it was, Alina's handwriting, her signature, notarized, official. And clear as day. I was the executor and primary heir. Amelia was included, yes, but only for specific items like jewelry and one investment property. I stared at the document for a long time, my chest tight. She forged it, I whispered. Mr. Bell sighed, "I'm afraid so, and Mr. Davis, this happens more than you'd think." He placed a hand gently on mine. "You have a very strong case." The confrontation. I didn't call Amelia. I didn't warn her. My wife always said, "If someone chooses deceit, let the truth be the thing that destroys them." So I filed the case. 3 weeks later, we were standing in a courtroom. Amelia looked polished, confident, smug even. When the judge asked her to present the will, her lawyer confidently handed over the fake document. But then Mr. Bell stood up. "Your Honor, we have reason to believe this will is fraudulent." You could feel the oxygen drop in the room. Amelia stiffened. My lawyer handed the original will to the judge. Then came the moment everything collapsed for her. The cross-examination. The judge compared signatures. He noted discrepancies. He examined the metadata on the digital records. Then came the expert handwriting analyst. "The signature on the document Miss Davis presented as genuine," the expert said, "is forged." Gasps filled the courtroom. Amelia's face drained of color. But the worst blow came when the judge asked, "Miss Davis, can you explain why the law firm listed on your document does not exist?" Her mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. "Amelia," I said softly from my seat. She didn't look at me. Her lawyer whispered frantically, she shook her head, tears started to gather. Finally she broke. "Fine," she shouted. "Mom owed me, she always chose him over me, I deserved that money." The courtroom fell silent. I felt my heart break all over again, not because of the money, not because of the deception, but because my daughter had grown into someone my wife would never recognize. The verdict. The judge's ruling was swift and severe. The forged will was invalid. The true will was reinstated. Amelia was charged with attempted fraud and forgery. She was ordered to pay all legal fees. And she lost her inheritance, temporarily pending review. I didn't smile. I didn't celebrate. Winning had never felt more like losing. After the trial, a week later, Amelia came to my house. She looked small, fragile, nothing like the arrogant woman in the courtroom. "Dad," she whispered, "I'm sorry." I didn't say anything. She cried hard, I thought you'd remarry, I thought she left everything to you and nothing to me, I was scared." It hurt hearing her confession. Because all her fears, her greed, were built on lies she told herself. "I lost your mother," I said quietly, "I didn't want to lose you too." She broke down completely. And for the first time in a long time, I held my daughter as she wept. Eleanor's last gift. Later that night, I opened the real will again. In a small handwritten note, Eleanor had added, "If you are reading this, my love, remember. Money reveals people. But forgiveness reveals hearts." And I knew what I had to do. A month later, after the legal dust settled, I reinstated Amelia's original inheritance as outlined in Eleanor's true will. Not because she deserved it, but because love, real love, isn't about deserving. It's about choosing. I chose to honor my wife. And maybe, just maybe, give my daughter a chance to find her way back to the good in her. Final reflection. Losing Eleanor broke me. But almost losing Amelia changed me. People think inheritances are about money. But they're really about truth, relationships, and the choices we make when faced with temptation. My daughter tried to take everything from me. But in the end, what she lost was far greater than $10 million. Trust. And trust, once broken, is the hardest inheritance to regain.